for the other class. That that was probably one of the big things. Then I'll look at the other. All right, so I'm going to close the databases here. And not just, collapse them. This is all down. Most of what we're doing down here is under management. So we look at, the extended events. We've looked at the maintenance plan. We're going to look at resource governor. We might look at policy. There's no assignment for it, but we might at some point look at the policy management. You can set up policies for your database. So I'm going to come down here to the resource governor. I'm going to right click it. And one of the very first things that you have to do is to enable it. A lot of these things are not enabled by default. Because if you don't want to use it, there's no reason to have it running, basically, right? So I right-clicked on it and chose to enable it. Now that I've enabled it, I don't have that option anymore. I just have the disable option. So I'm clicking the little plus beside it, and you see that there's resource pools. So one of the first things we need to do is to create a new resource pool. And resource pools are basically those things that you're going to give extra CPU time to. And memory. You can also control RAM to some extent with these. So can't you do this in Linux?
What?
Oh, just give some processes more RAM and more CPU.
I don't know right off the top of my head. You can say that some processes get more CPU time than others, to the point where if they take up all CPU resources, they can actually affect the operating system itself.
Oh yeah, so if the operating system can't run.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that could be interesting. So I think I just wanted to do. So we're going to do this in steps. I'm kind of following the book. Again, this is something I don't do a lot outside of this class in the summer. So I'm going to give this resource pool a name, and I'm going to give it the one that's in the book, SBS pool. Whatever SBS is standing for, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then it said to the minimum was going to be 20. So that's the minimum percent of the CPU. The maximum is 50. I right-clicked. Here, I'll do it again. Right-click, new resource pool. SBS pool. What? So I'm going to do 20, 50, and we're going to do the same for memory, 20, 50. So we're basically saying that this pool will never take less than 20% of the CPU. I don't know if that's something you would really want to do. You'd have to think about these. You'd have to think about what process it is that you're going to give that much precedence to. But this is, as I said, mostly about just how you would set this up.
Steve,
Yeah.
Is there a way to set it up so, like, say, SBS pool, for instance, it could get full CPU as long as nothing else needs a CPU?
I don't know. That's actually a good question. I think you can disable this again. I think it's a shared, it's basically just shared with all the pools here. So you could, I think if you were uncareful, is uncareful a word? If you weren't careful, you could oversubscribe pretty quickly, you know, the CPU. Now, and when they're doing this, minimum CPU percent is a bit vague to me too. When you have multiple CPUs, is it one CPU or the entire CPU processing time for all CPUs?
Usually under Windows, CPU refers to total resources available, or in the case of SQL Server, probably how many cores you assign to it.
Yeah, so if you had 8 cores or 16 cores, it would be the percent of all of those. That makes sense, I
Would be my
guess. I should turn off the timeout on this. I don't know. I will look. There's not a lot here that says that you can say, like an if statement, you know, give it this much unless, or if X isn't running, do this.
So I'm thinking more like a priority thing.
Yeah, I don't see anything that gives it. Well, there is down here when we do workloads in the SBS pool, which we're going to close this and come back because that's the way it does it. But we could do everything right here. You can put the importance on it, but I think that's only within this pool, right? And this pool could have several actions or several things, and it could have several workload groups. And among those workload groups, you can prioritize, but I don't know that you can for the actual pool. That's a good question, though. I will look. I've never seen how to do that, so it may not be doable. One of the things to know too is, I mean, typically when you're running SQL Server, you're running it on a server with no GUI, and all of the resources of the server are devoted to SQL Server. Only minimal operating system, you know, pools. I'm going to do okay. I'm following the book, even though I'm not sure why. They just want to show step by step. So now we have the SBS pool, right? As I said, you could have done this all in one dialog, because next thing you need to do is to create a workload group. Okay. I'm just looking to see what they do. So I'm going to right click and do a new workload group. Notice it brings you right back to the same dialog box that we could have done there. So they do this as SBS. You have to click in there. I wish it would take focus. SBS.
Is it SBS or SYS?
This is SBS. SSMS group. I'm going by the book names. You can name these whatever you want. You can name them Ralph or George or whatever, but presumably these. So it has a medium importance, and that's what we want to do. Maximum requests except 0. CPU time is 50, and then 25. And then it lets you go with 0 and 0 for the others. So you have a name, you have importance, and importance is, it's not as super, I mean, you got high, low, and medium, so it's not super granular. Maximum request 0. Is that, I'm not sure why that's 0.
Could just be no limit.
Yeah, that's probably what it means.
Because otherwise 0 doesn't make any sense.
One of the things about this book is it doesn't explain much. It just does it. But I think you're right. I think 0 means there's no max. It's just any number of requests. And again, we're giving it up to 50% CPU, and then 25 memory. And I think that these are proportionate to the pool. I'm not sure, 50% of this pool's CPU time. So we've set that up and we can do OK. This next part we have to use SQL for, but I just want to show you we have the pool and the group. Like all of the stuff that we do, we go walk through it, but you'd have to have a reason for doing this. You'd have to think about it before you do it. I'm going to create a new query. And what I want to do is we need to write a function. So I'm going to write create function SBS classifier. And I believe this has to be named this. Returns, because you have to delete it. Return sysname with schema binding. And again, I'm just following the one in the book. Begin, I'll do the end. So I'm going to declare at group, and it's going to be sysname. If, and this is a function you can use, which could be useful. If, I'm going to do that, I guess. If user underscore name, and we'll do the one that says equals J Doe for John Doe. We could do whatever name. And typically, I think instead of username, instead of username, they probably have you come up with some other, like a process ID or something like that, right? This is just to make it simple. So this is if this user logs in, we're going to give them put them in this syspool. But you could do something else like a process or something else in there.
On Canvas, you have username or S username. What's is that just a typo or is there?
It's probably a typo.
It's still pink.
Because it comes up pink.
I wonder this. Oh, it is S username, which is weird. They're both, because I think it's
Like a system user.
system username, and the other is probably database username. So for some reason, I'm not sure if the parentheses are actually doing anything. This begin and end is for the if, and it's set at group equals, and I have screwed this up before, SBS SS MS group. If this doesn't match the group name that we put in the group, nothing will happen. I've had things where I got that wrong, I typed it wrong, and it accepts the function just fine, but it doesn't do anything.
So it's saying if username is J, not J Doe,
Right.
then the group is gonna.
Then it's going to put the group, it's going to put them in that group.
That group.
So to
name.
give them the resources that that group says. And I'm going to return the group. Okay. And then that should be good. Oh, I spelled return wrong. So I'm going to run the function. And then I'm going to do alter resource governor. And it is 2 words. With classifier function. And classifier function is underscored. I'm going to put a paren there. Equals. So you might be able to do a different name. dbo.sbs classifier.
Okay, you can copy paste from the assignment says classifier two. Is there a reason?
Yeah, because I screwed up the first one.
Looks like you created the function with a different name. Yeah, you can just do the classifier function with a different name.
Right, I think you could. It's a classifier function. This is where it actually gets defined as a classifier function, I think, rather than its name. But you can only have one classifier function. So we'd have to drop it, which is hard to do. Anyway, I'm going to run these.
Well, it makes sense because otherwise you have to classify your classifiers.
Yeah. And I think if you look at the, I'm going to look at the resource governor again, and I'm just going to look at its properties, which brings that up. Notice it now has the classifier here. Right, so we should, the classifier function tells what login or what process is going to be assigned to the pool, right? And it's possible you could write a complex function to assign things to different pools if you had multiple pools. I will look into that. I suspect that this is just a minimalist kind of function that it's doing. Because I said you can only have the one function, so you have to get rid of it after. And all these, the other thing is that these are 2 built-in pools, default and internal, and you really aren't allowed to do anything with them. So I'm going to close that. Now to test this, what we need to do is first create a user named JDoe. So we need to create a login, and then we need to have that person do a couple of things and then see if it records this.
Do we need to be in Metro?
No, because first of all, we're going to create a login, right? That's master anyway. Create login, JDoe. And then we can do with password. I'm going to just do pass. And then I'm going to do default database. Do we want to do it on Metro Alt? Doesn't matter. Metro Alt. And then I'm going to also do check expiration. It's one underscore.
Will it accept that password?
It will if I do these next two things. Actually, probably the only thing I really had to do is policy.
Password.
I'm turning off the policy on the password. So I'm going to create that. So I'm going to use Metro Alt. And then create a user. All right. So that just maps the login to the thing. So you guys have got all of that. So we just created a login for John Doe, and we made John Doe a user in Metro Alt. We could have used one of the users that we made before, but I don't remember what we made. So, is everybody okay with that part? So I'm going to open up another query window.
What's this thing is this bolster role?
What?
This one right here.
Oh, we don't need to add them to a role, do we?
Oh, that was just in your example.
Oh, it does have a role. Yeah, let's add them to a role. Otherwise, they won't be able to do anything, and that's the problem. So this is alter.
Do we have to create it?
What?
Do we have to create a role first?
No, we're going to use the role data reader. Is that the data reader? It's DB data reader. This is a pre-existing role. Add member.
Can you write add user or
What? It's just add member. What do you mean?
add user to you? Or but no.
It always has to be add member, because it's a member of the role, and a member of the role has to be a user. So
But the syntax is member.
yes. DB data reader is a built-in role. It's one I don't use. Actually, I do use it a lot for testing because it gives them permission to read everything. So they can run a select on any table. It's too broad for most real-life roles. Does that make sense? But a lot of times when I'm just testing something, I'll make a login that has data reader, data writer.
Mm.
That means they can update, insert, delete, and read everything. The only thing, they can't create things, but they can read and mess with all the data. All right, so we needed to do that. And now I'm going to do a new query window. And I'm just going to select star from employee. I'm in Metro Alt, if you're not.
Login is JDO.
Oh, yes, we do need to log in as JDO. Thank you.
Just reading your directions.
So we need to log in as John Doe. All right, so the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to click over here on Connect, Database Engine, SQL Server Authentication, JDoe, and Pass. So now I have a window here as JDoe. So I have a login as JDoe. And then I'm going to do a new query and use Metro Alt, which I already am on, it looks like. But I am now in
JDO.
so I'm going to do a quickie query, just a couple of queries, just to have some action as John Doe. Select star from employee. Okay, so do we want to do anything else? It doesn't matter. I just want to, you need to have done a couple of things for it to record it in its log. This is enough things, I think. So now I'm going to go back to the one that's logged in as Steve. And I'm going to do this long query. Is it in the blog?
It's in the homework assignment.
Send me an assignment.
Oh, it's in the assignment. I gave it all to you.
Oh, no, you did.
I
I have a copy and paste on it. You've
Although there
corrected
is
some
at
of
least
them.
one line of code that isn't quite working.
You've corrected 2 of them for us.
Yeah. Well, I'll do the thing here. Select group ID.
You even use JDO as the user.
Well, yeah. Did I not in the other one? Oh, I did J Doe instead.
I think it's S.3. That's what you're-
It is S dot. I should go there and get it. It's probably okay. Cast G name as in bar car 20. Resource resource group. S dot session ID. So what these are just fields from the sys tables, basically. S dot login name. S dot login time. Cast. As I said, you probably just can paste it. S dot host name. Excuse me. Ooh. It's interesting. Hot host name S dot program name. Oh, program name was the last one. From sys DM resource governor workload groups. It's actually first is from DM EXEC sessions. And then it's an inner join. Sys DM resource governor. Okay, so why is that not working? Sysdm resource. Oh, I spelled governor wrong. When it doesn't turn green, I know it's wrong. On
Thank you.
g.groupid equals s.groupid. And that's underscore instead of just group ID. And where g name equals S group. Is there another M in there? No, but there's another S. Order by g.name. And this should be g.name also, not g underscore name. Okay, it doesn't like s.group ID. Why?
We can have an underscore between session and ID,
No, there should be. I don't have a comma.
but also between session and ID where it's under.
Oh, here too, yeah. Okay. Let's try this. I hope it works. Okay. So what it shows, it's just basically a log of Joe logging in, the time they did, the host name, the program name. You know, it just basically shows that the resource governor is, that they are part of that group. That Joe's a part of that group and being logged in as part of that group. And will be given. Now, the other way to test this, if you really want to, but it would take some work, is to bring up the task manager and do the CPU. You know, look at the CPU and see what's being dedicated. I don't know that we could see it when we have to switch back and forth between sessions like this. I don't know, but we could look at it. I have seen this where it's demoed that you can see it on the, let's just do, I don't think I can get it to see, but let's go to, that's weird. Oh, more details. And then performance. And then I think what we would have to do is probably go into the resource monitor. I don't know, we'd have to isolate it. There are things you can do here. But I think we'd have to be running stuff as that person while we were looking. Let's just look at CPU just vaguely in general. Let's go back to CPU, or overview, CPU. Let's just go to monitor. Yeah. I'm going to go back to Joe. Troubles, can I do this? Yeah. Yeah, just a sec. Actually, no person. I was just wondering if we see any spike I just don't think we have enough activity to really see the resource allocation. But the point of it is to give some resources more access and more priority than others. Yeah. So when you do the discover, let's look at your group. So right click on the resource pools. You have two sys pools. Just right now.
Dave, why'd you run for JDO?
What?
Did you run a query against JDO?
I did. I run 2 queries on JDO. Any query should work.
Running into problems logging in.
All right, I will look.
Did you think in the assignment here that should have been school and then SSMS group?
No, it shouldn't be sys.
Up there, not either,
That could be sys pool.
but that's still SDS.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't think the names matter.
Okay.
As long as you do the right thing. So where does it matter?
I did all the stuff. It's like that for But I didn't do that when I made the secondary. I have to see if it's static.
You can't log in.
I can't.
So this is now there's one other thing that's here. You have and then I think you have to do all right, so let's look at your yeah, just click. So what the classifier and the function. I don't see any workload. So I don't see a workload. I think that's the part that's missing. Yeah. Oh, now I can look. Oh, we needed that. So that looks okay. So do okay. So, and this is logged in. Are they both logged in? Oh, you're logged in then, Mark? Oh, that's why there's nothing. Right click on your. First, right click on the server. What is it failing for? Right click on the server. Yeah. Right click. Go to properties. Administrative security. You've only got Windows authentication. So click on that. Do okay. Do okay. Right click on the server again. Top of it. Okay. Do restart. Should have restart. Right click on that. I think you missed that. Why doesn't that restart? No, that is required. Well, there's another way to restart. Down here. Right click there. And go to computer management. Go to services and application, SQL Server configuration. SQL Server services. Just go to SQL Server, MS this one right there. Right click. So I guess stop it. No, reduce that. And then you should be able to run this. It won't let you do, until you change the configuration, it won't let you do the SQL Server logins. Yeah.
Going through the.
Did you do a lot of different things?
Just 3. And it's not saying the name John Doe again.
Oh, so I think what you've got,
Or J. Doe or whatever that is.
right, so let's go. Let's just do a new query. From here. And it says John Doe. Now, it seems to be looking at everything that was done. Is John Doe a member of,
Is it a role?
well, the role was just data reader. I was just wondering, it looks like you're getting all the stuff from the Steve window, but I'm not sure.
So,
Yeah.
That's, okay, yeah, so that
The
was,
reason I had a number 2 there and I meant to pull that out was,
I'm sure it's a mistake.
yeah, well, my original classifier function failed, so I made a second.
Oh, and it put a 2 on the end of it?
Well, I
Since
did,
you already had
to
one?
differentiate it. That's what you said. Well, did you only run one query? With him and Joe. I don't know. It's only, yeah, so if you only run one query, that you will you got it good.
That's so weird.
You right there?
Alright.
Yeah.
What next?
That's all for today, except for the work in the groups.
This doesn't look like that. So
No,
I'm just
so
trying to
what
figure-
have we got?
I don't know.
I think you've got the right query. I'm just wondering why. Let's look at what we got. Just where we did it. So that looks good.
See this?
Oh, that looks good.
Have the queries in Canvas.
Yeah.
I'm glad I figured that out. I don't know.
Is it here? I think I'm seeing it. It's not G. On for the the inner join.
Oh. Group ID, because that's group ID. I think that's okay.
Yeah, it's the first one. To connect the resource governor.
Oh, you got S and S.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that is the problem. There you go.
It's still not 250. It's 257, not 256.
Well, I wouldn't worry about that. This is, this could vary, it depending on when it was assigned.
Is it all for today?
Yeah, except for the presentation to give you
I
some time,
left my thumb drive at home.
so you're not getting any.
Well, no, this is I've done it all. And these are the third.
Right. Well, that's what I was wondering.
Isn't that
So,
weird? Well, the last time when I ran it with you at one time.
oh, it did work fine before?
Yeah, the last time I got the same results as you.
So why is it not working
It's
this
not
time?
strange, just, it looks as though there's nothing, I've done nothing.
Although, so this is, that's Steve, the other's Joe.
And I had to change some things, for instance, classifier 1. I wonder if there's something-
Yeah, that should be. Did you change that to one?
No, but down here, it was, everything had to be 1, because there's always already a user. and
Oh,
roles.
sure, yeah.
That's probably it.
Now login is, and here, logged in as Joe one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So go
I
to,
wonder if I have run all the things again, or,
yeah,
Yeah,
I think go to the, because you just redid the. So just go back to, I don't know if you have to run all those.
and rerun these.
Yeah.
Let's see what result this is.
Oh, still nothing.
Yeah, I don't think I need to, because I'm already logged in, like all of this worked.
Final presentation.
Yeah, because it might.
Bye-bye.
This already worked. Those are.
I can work more group on Thursday.
Okay, that'd
For
be
my
fine.
civil agent.
Huh.
Strange.
Well, it worked the first time. I think it is just the switching of things, the names. The other thing is, let's look at your resource. I mean, yeah, it's the system pool, resource pools, just look at your properties. It does say classifier 1.
Yeah, these were all seconds per.
Yeah,
They're the people who play PlayStation virtual reality.
you might need to so you've got Joe 1.
Like kind of redo the order. It's
Yeah,
as easy as me just changing these, so I can do that.
it's strange though, that's, so the code for this is pretty much in the assignment except for, I said classifier 2, right? That one should probably go away.
Can syspool have a 1 in it? Or a 2 in it?
I don't know, I've not tried to do two syspools. Go ahead and do two.
I'm gonna write 2.
So, let's see, the login is Joe. Let's look at that. So, yeah, run that.
I noticed on the quality.
I know. It's really for all that, I think it's in there, so, except that I said classifier 2 and that's. So next time we'll do full text catalogs, which are actually kind of fun.
Fun?
Yeah, let you search for words in a text field that has multiple words. You can search for individual words. You can also search for a word that is near another word. You know, and you can search for variations of words based on grammar, past tense.
It's basically control find.
It's kind of like a, you could use it for internet search kind of things where you're looking for, so you don't have to do an exact match with the field, and it's more efficient than like.
So you can search for things like regardless of tense or form. Or
Yes,
like,
yeah.
search for, like,
So if you said run, it would also return ran. You know, things like that.
Oh, wow.